Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with all the makeup empties for 2022. I have 31 products to share with you today and I'm really excited to share them. It's not been the most amazing makeup empties year for me this year. However, I'm getting to a point in my collection now where a lot of products are full, or I've used up like a lot of my products that were, very old, very well loved. Not well loved. Well, I'm doing a terrible job at explaining this, but when you start product planning at first, you have a lot of products that are, halfway through. You kind of rotate through your products a lot, but once you get into product planning, and at least for me, and I think a lot of people, you start focusing on those products that are easier to finish. And then after a couple of years of doing panning, you're left with the products that are harder to finish, and that's why I don't think I have as many makeup empties this year. However, I'm completely fine with that. I'm still rotating through a lot of my collection and I'm using up a lot as well, especially the products that I want to finish. So yeah, that is basically the intro. I'm gonna jump into the products that I have finished, but before I do so, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So let's start with, I'm gonna do it kind of like by category. So first up we have primers, and this year I finished one primer, and that is my Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser Primer. I got this, it was relatively new to my collection. I got this from my friend Martina. However, it wasn't my favorite primer. It was still good, but it wasn't my favorite, so I decided to use it up this year, and this one is now empty. Next up we have foundations. I finished two foundations this year. The first one is my Maybelline Dream Urban Cover Foundation in the shade Warm Ivory. This one was nice. I really liked it when I first got it, but I feel like I fell out of love with it a little bit the more I used it. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I think it's still a really nice foundation, especially for the price, but I have definitely found better things that I like. Then the other one is one of my most recent empties, and that is my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Again, it was a really nice one. However, when I use it every single day, I feel like when my skin was a bit drier or not as nice, it didn't perform as nicely on my skin. It just sat a little bit on top of my skin. So again, it's not my favorite, but it was still a good foundation. But considering the price, I would much rather repurchase the Maybelline one, I think, than this one, because I feel like they did, I like them even enough, but Maybelline one is obviously way cheaper. For concealers, again we have two. The first one is my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and I have mine in the shade Fair Warm. This one is really nice. I quite like this concealer. I have a backup of it, but it's in a slightly deeper color, so it only works for me kind of when I'm a bit more tanned in summer. I would definitely repurchase this one again. I really did enjoy it. I'm just working through a few other concealers in my collection, but yeah, this is definitely really good, especially for the price. Another concealer that I really enjoyed and lasted me a long time, this is actually 10 ml, so I think that's why it lasted a really long time, and that is my Cover FX Power Play Concealer. However, I do think they have discontinued these, both this one and the foundation, which is a bit of a shame, because again, I really liked this concealer. It was quite high coverage, but it was very thin, and the color was perfect for me. I had mine in the shade G Light, but yeah, I think I've seen that they have discontinued this one. If I'm wrong, I would definitely consider purchasing this one again. But yeah, I'm sure I can find other concealers that I like as well now if this one doesn't exist anymore. Lastly, for kind of base stuff, we have a color corrector, and this one is from Becca, and it's one of their under eye brightening correctors in light to medium. This was just one of their kind of mini sizes, and yeah, I finished this one in the past year. I'm currently working on a different one. I have quite a few backups because I stocked up when Becca was closing down. However, as you might know now, Smashbox has bought this product as well as the Champagne Pop highlighter, so I can't get this again, but I do have quite a few backups because I thought that it was leaving forever. So the one I'm currently working on is maybe like 1/3 through, so that's probably something that's going to be in my empties for next year. Moving on to other kind of base products, we're going to do powders next. I had one powder that I finished in the past year, and that is my Becca Under Eyes Brightening Setting Powder. I am very close to finishing two more powders, so they will be definitely included next year. But this one is the only one that I finished. I rotated through my powders quite a bit this last year, and yeah, I only finished this one, like I said. One I could debate to put in this one, but I'm still trying to get it out, the little last bit that's in it, but I think it's only going to be maybe 5 more uses on that powder. and since I'm filming this a little bit earlier than the end of the year, I might finish that this year, but if I do, I'm still gonna count into next year's empties because I'm filming this video now. But for now, this is the only powder that I finished. I bought the powder itself. It's not my favorite. I probably wouldn't repurchase it again. I got this in a kit actually with this corrector and the, what's it called, the cooling under eye primer or something like that, I think. I got those for in a set, and honestly the only product that I would repurchase is the brightening corrector, which I obviously have backups of already. The other two products haven't been my favorites. So let's move into more kind of cheek products. The first one we're going to go through is bronzers, and again I only finished one bronzer this year, and that is my Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. This is a big product though. It had originally 30 grams of product, which is a lot. So it took me a long time to finish this one. I was working on it in my year-long product pan, and it's a bit bittersweet that this one is gone because it was a lovely product and they have reformulated this one, and I think from what I heard, the new version is not nearly as good. So it's a bit of a shame, but you know, it's still nice to have this out of my collection because it's a bulky kind of packaging and it was a beast to get through, so it's very satisfying to have finished this one. But yeah, it was a really nice product, and I would have considered repurchasing it again if they hadn't reformulated it, and maybe if it was a little bit cheaper. Then next up we have blushes. I finished one blush this year as well, and that is my Clinique blushing blush powder in the shade Precious Posy. Again, it's all gone so you can't see it, but this one again was in my yearly rolling product pan, and I worked on this one last year as well, so you probably recognize this one unless you're new to my channel. And yeah, this is the only blush I finished this year. Blushes take so long to finish, so I'm not surprised. I'm doing relatively good on a different blush, but it's nowhere near done. I think probably take another, honestly, probably another 6 months to finish up, if not longer. So it's gonna be a beast to finish next year. I'm hoping to maybe finish 2 blushes next year, but I'm not counting on it because again, blushes always take longer to finish than I think. Then next up we have highlighters, and this is not like a traditional highlighter, I guess, but it is still a highlighter, so I'm going to count it into this category, and that is my Sunbeam highlighter from Benefit. This is a liquid highlighter and it's also very bronzy. I finished this one. I could use it as a highlighter in summer if I was tanned, but I finished this towards the end of the year as a face primer, like to give a bit of a glowy base, especially in like this area here. So kind of like a bronzy but still glowy base. Also down my nose, I used it a lot and it was really nice. I did enjoy it, but my favorite use for this was as a highlighter when I was on holiday. However, it was getting really old, so I wanted to get it out of my collection, so this is the only highlighter that I finished. Let's do browns next and stick with one product because I only finished one brow product as well, and that is my Lumine brow gel. I can't remember what it's called, and the packaging is completely rubbed off, but this is the Lumine brow gel, and I think this one was in the shade Blonde. This was like a tinted brow gel. The bond, it looked like this. It was pretty good. I'm not the biggest fan of tinted brow gels though, because I feel like they go really messy when you apply them. I prefer a clear brow gel, so yeah, I probably wouldn't repurchase this one. Fun fact with this product as well, actually, I bought this for a collaboration with Alexi, you know, Alexandra and the creator of Pandos Eyeshadows. We did a collaboration years back for products, or like with full face of makeup using only brands from Sweden, because we're both from Sweden. So we did a collaboration and I bought this product for that. And I remember with this one I couldn't find any other brow gel from a Swedish brand, and that's why I picked this one up. But it's actually something that I liked more than I thought I would, because again, the kind of tinted brow gels aren't my favorite. But yeah, this one is now finished and it is my only brow empty this year. Let's move into some more boring stuff next. We have mascaras. I have actually 2 of each of these. We have 2 of the Maybelline Lash Sensational mascaras, and then we have 2 of the Sky High mascaras. These 2 are my favorite types of mascaras. Both of these are in waterproof because I always wear waterproof mascara due to my eyelashes being very straight. But yeah, all of these are finished. Not much to say about them, they're just mascaras. Also, I don't know if people count this as a makeup empty, but I did finish one lash glue. This is the Household Lashes lash glue. I really like this one. It's actually my favorite one, but I can't find this in the UK right anymore. Like, it's just impossible to find. But I'm using the Duo lash glue right now, the brush on one, and it's quite similar to this one, but this one is a bit more tacky and quicker drying. But the Duo one works fine too, but this is just my favorite one that I've tried. So it's a couple more categories to go. We have eyeliners next, and I have 3 eyeliners that I finished this year. First up, we had a liquid eyeliner. This is a glitter liquid eyeliner actually. The packaging is completely broken, but this one was from H&M, and it is one of the Glitterati mascara liners in the shade Starlight. This was a beautiful yeah, kind of glittery liner. I used this a lot as a new kind of highlight and used as a kind of accent thing, and I've quite liked it. I wouldn't repurchase though. I don't reach for these glitter things very often, and now I have so many sparkly in the eyeshadows, I can use them instead of these kind of glitter liners. I also have two actual like pencil liners. The first one comes from NYX and it's one of their Wonder pencils in light. This one is completely empty, the tip has fallen out, so this one is done. I quite like that one. I might repurchase it or I might try a different brand, but I do really like those kind of light pencils in my waterline. Then the next one is one of my most recent empties, and this one is the Isadora eyeliner in bronze. I actually used this one as a lip liner towards the end because I thought this was a beautiful color for lip liner, but this one is also done. So the biggest category that I have empties of this year is actually lip products, so let's do them last. But next up we actually have two eyeshadows that I finished this year. I have finished more eyeshadows than this in palettes, but I'm only counting things that I completely finished. I didn't actually completely finish a palette this year, not yet at least. So next year I know for sure that one palette will be in my empties, but I'm not counting it into there yet because I didn't actually finish the whole palette. Last year I think I did include them in here, but I'm not going to do it this year. And also I do all the eyeshadows I hit pan on and all the eyeshadows I finished per quarter this year. So if you want to see the eyeshadows that I actually finished in palettes, you can check those videos out and you will see them there. But two single eyeshadows or separate eyeshadows that I did finish was the Stila Glitter and Glow in Smoldering Satin. This is completely done. This was yeah, in my deco panning, and yeah, this one is finished. I like this a lot. I like the Stila Glitter and Glows a lot. However, I'm not going to repurchase them because I have other things that I much prefer now, and they dry out really quickly. The other one is my Super Shock shadow from Colourpop in Lightning Bug. I finished this one too. Currently I'm housing another Stila Glitter and Glow in here, so it doesn't look empty, but the actual original eyeshadow is done, and that was a really warm toned kind of bronzy gold shade, like an orangey kind of bronzy gold shade. It was stunning. I really like that one. It's one of my favorite Super Shock shadows ever, but that one is empty, and that is the second eyeshadow that I finished. So like I said, lip products is my biggest category. Let's start with lip liners. We have two that I finished, both from MAC. The first one is in the shade Hip and Happy. It was like a really bright pink, and that one is done. Again, I wouldn't repurchase this one. It's not my favorite at all, but it is done. Then the second one was the shade Soar, which was one that I didn't really like much in the beginning of the year, but the more I used it, especially in the end of the year, it's quite a nice nudish kind of mauve, but it's quite deep still, so it's quite impactful, but it worked quite well in autumn, but I wouldn't repurchase that one either. I'm also really close on a different lip liner and lipstick, actually a combination I'm wearing on my lips today. I will try to finish them before the end of the year, but if I do, I will, you know, I'm filming this video a couple of days before the end of the year, so they're not included in here. But if you watch my product apocalypse, you know what products they are, and again, they are very close to being finished. I'm gonna really try to finish them before the end of the year. Next up we have my Clarins Instant Dark Lip Corrector. This is the only gloss that I finished this year. This was a really hard product to finish. You can see all the progress lines there. I think this one took like 300 or something uses to finish, if not, I can't remember, 380 maybe. I honestly can't remember now, but it took a long time to finish. I do really like this formula. The color was my favorite, but I have mentioned before that I might repurchase this one in a different color, maybe like a brownie nude, and I think I would really enjoy that. But yeah, this one is finished. Then for actual lip products, I have a few to share with you. I'm actually looking at them now, and it's funny because I have them. Basically, I have only 3 brands that I finished, which is interesting, but these are the ones that I finished. So first up, we have 3 Revlon lip butters. I have the shade Pink Truffle, which was a gorgeous nude shade. I love working on this one. It was like a brownie, pinky kind of nude, as the name would suggest, like pink truffle. Beautiful. I loved it, especially in the formula. It was so nice to work on. I think this was the first product that I finished in my product apocalypse, and I loved it a lot. But yeah, this one is done. Then we have 2 more kind of bright shades. We have the shade Sweet Tart, which is a really bright kind of pink shade. Looks like this. Yeah, wouldn't repurchase this kind of shade. Also, I think the lip butters are no longer available. We also have the shade Wild Watermelon, which is the most recent empty out of these 3, and this one was like a off red kind of shade. Quite stunning. I used it as a cream blush towards the end. Then I have 2 lipsticks from Chanel. We have one of their Rouge Cocos in the shade Paradise, which was a light kind of pink shade. Looked like this. So this one is finished. And then the other one I have is the shade Sedisante, which was another like kind of pink shade, slightly different tone, slightly more mauve toned, but this one is also done. Then the last empties that I have to share in this video are 3 that comes from MAC, so 3 MAC lipsticks. The first one is the shade Sea Sheer, which I loved working on. This is a beautiful kind of orangey, burnt orange kind of tone. This was one of the luster finishes. Another luster finish I finished was the shade Plumful, which is quite similar in depth wise, but this one is more plummy, as you can see. I quite enjoy this one too, not as much as Sea Sheer though. And then the last one I finished is the shade Angel, which was again a pinky kind of nude, and that is this color here. So those were all of the products that I finished in the past year. Again, not as many as I maybe hoped for, but I'm really happy with empties, and I'm happy that I finished so many lip products specifically, because that was one of my main goals this year, was to downsize my lipstick collection or lip product collection in general. And I finished all of these that I mentioned, but I also decluttered quite a few as well. So I'm really happy with the way my lipstick collection downsized this year. So that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and otherwise I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.